If you could give rock and roll another name, it would be Chuck Berry. And those were the words John Lennon said on a TV show back in the early 1970s when introducing Chuck live on stage and The Tonight Show. And yeah, I totally agree. One of the absolute legends and greats of rock and roll, Chuck Berry. And today I'd like to give you my top 10 favourite tracks. And yeah, it was very difficult to do a top 10 of Chuck, because there's so many tracks out there that he did over the years, particularly in the 50s and early 60s, that I absolutely love. They're absolute rock and roll classics. This whole top 10 I think is just filled with absolute rock and roll classics, and yeah, definitely left a few out, but here's my top 10. So number 10, I have Hail Hail Rock and Roll, School Days. Absolutely love this track. Yeah, just an anthem of rock and roll, School Days. Number 9 is No Money Down. Absolutely love. He's a great storyteller. Paul McCartney said Chuck is probably one of the greatest poets of all time. Totally agree. Absolutely fantastic track, No Money Down. Number 8, one of my absolute favourites, Let It Rock. It's been covered by the Stones and Dave Edmunds and so many other artists. Absolutely love Let It Rock. Number 7 is a song that Elvis performed on the Louisiana Hayride in 1955. So he was influenced by Chuck as well, right from the start, and it's Maybelline, the breakthrough single for Chuck. Absolutely love Maybelline. Number 6 is a song from the 60s. He was locked up there in the early 60s, and he used his time in prison to write some absolute classics like Promised Land and No Particular Place to Go, and You Can Never Can Tell, and they all became classics. But I love this one, and it's called Nadine. Absolutely love it. It's another one of them storytelling songs. I absolutely love Nadine. Number 5 is a song I just mentioned, No Particular Place to Go, based on the same backing track as School Days. But I absolutely love driving songs, and this is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest driving song of all time, No Particular Place to Go. Absolutely love it. Number 4, I have Sweet Little 16. What an absolute track. Absolutely love Sweet Little 16. It's just an iconic rock and roll track. Number 3 is one that John Lennon nicked for it's called You Can't Catch Me, and yeah, John Lennon nicked it, and nicked the tune and turned it into Come Together, Beatles classic. I think Chuck actually sued him in the early 70s, and John was forced to do a couple of his songs for a couple of Chuck Berry's as part of the deal, court deal, on his rock and roll album. But Chuck Berry's a big influence on John Lennon and all the Beatles. But I absolutely love You Can't Catch Me. Another one of them storytelling ones. Absolutely love it. Number 2, I have a rock and roll classic. It's probably the first Chuck Berry song I ever heard, and it's Johnny Be Good. Absolutely love Johnny Be Good. Probably the first time I heard it was in Back to the Future, and Chuck didn't sing it in Back to the Future. I heard the version in the Marty McFly character singing it in or miming it in Back to the Future, and then I heard the Chuck Berry, and it just blew me away, and I've loved Chuck ever since. I remember having a little cassette of the best of Chuck Berry when I was a kid, and that was the first track. I absolutely love Johnny Be Good. So the only track that beat that for me, I think it's probably one, if not the greatest rock and roll track of all time, Roll Over Beethoven. What a track. Absolute stunning track. I know ELO made a cover of it in the 1970s and put their own stamp on it. George Harrison did it with the Beatles in the 60s on the Beatles' second album. But I think the definitive version is still Chuck Berry's original Roll Over Beethoven. So that's my top 10. I know I left a lot of absolute classics back in the USSA, Memphis, Tennessee. What else did I miss out? Promised Land, Sweet Little Rock and Roller, Rock and Roll Music, of course. That probably would have been number 11. Yeah, There's just so many, and he influenced so many people, and he's a great loss when he actually died. I was actually really sad when he died. Absolutely love Chuck Berry. I think he's one of the absolute greats of rock and roll, and that is my top 10. If you have any comments, leave them in the section below. If not, thank you and bye.